I've taken the time to study the all-22 coaches film from the Buffalo Bills Week 16 win over the New England Patriots, and I'm sharing my top takeaways with you today on Locked On Bills.
You are Locked On Bills, your daily Buffalo Bills podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Bills Mafia? It's Joe Marino, author of Go Bills and Buffalo's Run, also the co-host of the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast, and I'm your host of Locked On Bills. Want to thank you for making Locked On Bills your first listen every day, and a big welcome and shout out to our everydayers. You know who you are. Those of you who never miss a single episode, I appreciate y'all being here very, very much. I'd also like to invite you to subscribe or follow for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use code LockedOnNFL to win $50 instantly when you play $5. Folks, welcome in. Time to share my takeaways from studying this film, Bills Patriots. The Bills win the game, and there's plenty to get into. I want to talk about the run game success, some of the inconsistencies with the passing game, some of what the defensive issues were, and some of the successes of the defense, studs and duds, snap counts. You know the drill here on the All-22 review episode. I do want to start with the run game because I think that was the best part of the game for the Buffalo Bills. Outside of maybe the three defensive takeaways, the run game. James Cook, that's a big reason why the Bills won this game. 28 carries, 172 yards, over 6 yards per carry. And last week in the win over Detroit, I talked a lot about how the Bills got back to some man and gap blocking schemes, and it worked really well. Smart idea going up against a Lions defense that was missing a lot of preferred players on the second level, a lot of new players on the second level, and fitting the run can be challenging when you are stressed in the ways that the Bills challenged Detroit with pullers and introducing gaps that weren't necessarily there play side when the ball was snapped, and now you have a lot of different things to figure out. Well, against New England, I'm pleased to share that the zone rushing was the catalyst and the function of the run game that was the best part of it. The Bills ran zone runs 12 times for 108 yards and a touchdown. That's 9 yards per carry. That's a success rate of 66.7%. Third highest zone rushing success rate of any team in Week 16. And the cutback zone, which was a big part of kind of the Bills' middle of the season, early to middle of the season run game success, was that cutback zone where they would usually use James Cook to press the line of scrimmage, and they set back these cutback lanes, and they're blocked really well, and James Cook feels it really well, and he's got that lateral quickness to really work back across the grain and find space, and his vision in the hole is really good. Yeah, that was, again, the case here against the New England Patriots. I thought the Bills' best rushes, and obviously as evidenced by the statistics, came on zone rushes. And so it's good to see some efficiency back in that capacity. Now, the man gap efficiency was down a little bit. 10 rushes, 34 yards, 3.4 yards per carry, 50% success rate on man concepts. But what I have enjoyed about the Bills' man run scheme, and while it wasn't as effective against New England, it has been in recent weeks, is that, of course, they're still doing the same stuff with pullers and getting a lot of different guys opportunities to get in space and win. But Reggie Gilliam continues to be a more and more present part of this rushing offense. Was on the field in this game 31% of snaps. He was on the field 17% of snaps last week. Now, only 5% against the Rams, but 24% against San Francisco. So 3 of the last 4 weeks, Gilliam played north of 17%, up to 31% of offensive snaps. And it's been cool to see because he didn't have that big of a role earlier in the season. Between weeks 1 and 11, he was between 0 and 12% of snaps. And most of the time on the lower side of that when it comes to offensive snaps, or getting him on the field more And he's doing a great job of really leading into gaps and clearing space. He's been really, really effective. And so we've always known Reggie Gilliam as a really good special teams player and a serviceable fullback. I think he's really elevated his lead blocking game here lately as he's gotten more opportunities, and the Bills are having a lot of success with him on the field. So it's cool to see that. And the other side of this, that's another trend that I've started to notice, is way less Dalton Kincaid playing in line. Very, very few snaps in line, actually. The last 3 games, he played 4 snaps in line, 8 snaps in line, and 4 snaps in line. That's it. In this first 9 games of the season, he averaged 17 snaps of inline play. So it looks like their idea for continuing to elevate the Bills' rushing offense in particular is more Reggie Gilliam and less Dalton Kincaid as an inline player. And they're pulling in Mac Hollins as a more, closer to the line of scrimmage player at times in some of these run schemes. Of course, Alec Anderson, but Reggie Gilliam as well, part of that equation to help with the reduced role of Kincaid, which is partly because he's not a super good blocker, but partly probably because of the knee injury and him not quite being 100%. What's interesting also about this run scheme, as we see it more and more blended, and it's interesting how it seems like some weeks the gap schemes are better than the zone schemes, but it's how these running backs are being used. Obviously, James Cook is the feature back. Now, Ty Johnson and Ray Davis still get plenty of opportunity, but it's interesting to see how the Bills continue to work them all into the equation. And James Cook's having a year, right? I mean, last 2 games over 100 yards rushing. That's the first time a Bills running back had consecutive 100 yards rushing in 2 consecutive games since Shady McCoy back in 2016. He has 16 scrimmage touchdowns this year. That's the second most in a single season in franchise history. He accounted for 40% of the Bills' offensive yards against New England. So James Cook is producing. It's interesting, though, that later in this game, the closer was Ty Johnson. And the series before Ty Johnson got the heavy workload that ultimately ended the game, it was a Ray Davis drive. So while James Cook is the feature back, he has the most production, the most opportunity, certainly makes the most plays. Late in the game, it's been Ray Davis, and now it looks like it's more Ty Johnson. In addition to Ty Johnson being the third down back and being the best pass pro back. So I like how the Bills use all 3 of these backs. I think that helps from any one of them really wearing down. In fact, I'll give you a tease on the snap counts. 39% Ty Johnson, 36% James Cook, 24% Ray Davis. So while there's good volume in touches for James Cook, he's not necessarily playing a ton of snaps, right? Only about a third of the snaps. And so I think that helps keep him fresh. And I think it's a really good job of maximizing 3 running backs with 3 different skill sets. Now, does it complicate questions about contract extensions and all that? Sure. Yeah, it absolutely does. And we'll save that for another day. But James Cook continues to produce for this offense, and Joe Brady continues to do a very good job of getting the most out of all 3 of these backs and using them in the ways that they're most effective. And obviously against New England, it was the zone rushes. It was Ty Johnson in pass protection. Of course, the Patriots blitzed a lot, over 35, 36%, I'm pretty sure, which is right in line with their season averages. So that's why you see a lot of Ty Johnson on the field, but you still sprinkle in some Ray Davis when you want that physicality on that rollout pass that the Bills got a first down on later in the game. Some big plays for him as well. So it's a good situation here. I think this is the smart way to use your running back room. I think everyone would love to have Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley or one of these like legitimate plays 70% of the snaps, 300-something touches. But at the same time, I think you're probably better when you can rely on multiple backs to do multiple things and keep them all fresh and really use a variety of skill sets to make up for everything you want out of the backfield. So that's where the Bills are at with these running backs. I think they're doing a very, very good job. All right, on the other side of it, we're talking passing game inconsistencies, offensive snap counts, and then we'll start, of course, talking defense as well. Folks, be sure to stick with me. The NFL playoffs are almost here, but it's not too late to get in on the regular season action over at FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. And FanDuel has so many different ways for you to pick up a dub. I love betting on which players will hit overs on stat projections. I also love building parlays. It's really thrilling when you're watching games. You got different props on the line, and it makes it more exciting to watch football games. And not only can you bet on who will win games, but FanDuel has bets for which players will score a touchdown, how many points each team will score, and so much more. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your chance at $250 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Let's talk about this passing game. Again, the Bills' rushing offense, the running backs, terrific in this game, as they've been for most of the season. The passing game was really not humming in this game. Certainly some opportunistic moments. You're not going to keep Josh Allen in check for an entire game. But it wasn't a game where this passing offense was really lighting it up or being efficient at all. I think there's a number of factors that stood out to me when studying the tape. I'll say, first of all, the Patriots were very sound in coverage. Thought they had a good plan. I thought they mixed their coverage as well. Felt like they knew where to leverage routes. Anticipated a lot of the Bills' staple stuff. Josh Allen came out and said, look, we're kind of towing the line between competing for a top seed, but we don't really control our own destiny, so we don't really want to put our best stuff out there. And I'm inclined to believe that's true. I mean, why would he say it if it wasn't true? But also, when you know that and you watch this game and you see kind of your routine Bills stuff and you don't see a whole lot of what feels like game plan specific stuff for New England, I'm inclined to believe that's true, and a limiting factor of why this offense wasn't as prolific and high-flying as it's been in recent weeks. Now, I still don't think that's okay. I think you want to go out and play high-level football and execute, and even if you don't have all these great wrinkles that are going to confuse the defense, like, go out and win one-on-ones and be consistent, right? You have better players. You have a star quarterback. You're at home. I still have higher expectations, but it's something to keep in mind. So while I think the Patriots were good in coverage, and shout out to them, they're down 2 starters in the secondary. That guy stepping in and did a nice job. But I thought Josh Allen in particular got away from a lot of what's made him very efficient and successful this season. His average depth of target, very high in this game, 12.4. That's too far. That's too far. He goes deep on 20% of his dropbacks. It's too much. Only 3.4% check down rate. You want to see him take those EV profits a little bit more consistently. He's been around 10, 12% all season long. He's a fraction of that in this game. Throws to his first read only 38% of the time, and Josh is typically very low in throwing to his first read, usually in the around 50%, but we're talking 38%. Just kind of got away from some of the efficiency stuff that has made this offense really good. And a lot of that worked last week against Detroit, where the Bills, and Josh Allen at a lot of times kind of turned it into a backyard football game. But that didn't work as well against New England, against a team that's just more familiar with you. I know it's a new Patriots coaching staff, but not really. Gerard Mayo's been there a long time. DeMarcus Covington's been there a long time. A lot of the defensive personnel's been there a long time. I think there's a big difference in, playing Josh Allen 2 times a year for the last several years, or, here he is once every 4 years, or, maybe it's for a lot of teams and coaches their first time playing him. And I think Josh got away from, again, a lot of the things that made him successful. The New England Patriots also played a good amount of man coverage in this game, and the Bills just didn't have as much success. And obviously the Patriots have a really good man coverage corner in Christian Gonzalez, and Jonathan Jones is a veteran. But you'd expect a little bit more ability to uncover against this man these man looks, especially when the Bills' pass protection was as good as it was. 22 dropbacks for Josh Allen against man. He goes 8 of 18 for 61 yards. You want a lot more than that, so much more. Your yards per attempt, your completion percentage, all of that's way too low. 12 dropbacks against zone. Josh is 8 of 11 for 93 yards. And again, Christian Gonzalez, Jonathan Jones, I thought played well in man. But I thought their X factor in this game that probably gets overlooked if you just watch the broadcast copy is Marte Mapu. Young player that's very athletic. One of those legit chess pieces. You think about these hybrid positionless players on defense, that have size and range and athleticism, but maybe a little bit too big to be a safety, a little bit too small to be a linebacker, maybe not as change of direction, quickness, doesn't have all that stuff to play in the slot, but you just get them on the field and use them in a hybrid role, and they can really be a chess piece. And I thought that's a great job that New England did, was deploying Marte Mapu, who, whether it was man coverage reps on tight ends where he does have the size, length, and athleticism to match up, or occasionally they sent him off the edge as a blitzer, and just an unbelievable job of being under control in pursuit of Josh Allen. There's so many times you see blitzers get an opportunity to go after Josh and they run right by him, or they don't really square up and come to balance. Then they kind of over or underestimate Josh's athleticism and his physicality, and they look terrible. Marte Mapu didn't. It's like he did as good of a job as I've ever seen as somebody in pursuit of Josh Allen to stay under control, to stay leveraged, and make tackles. I thought he was an X factor. You also had 2 drops in this game. Amari Cooper with the drop, Khalil Shakir with the drop, and that Shakir drop was a killer. That was an opportunity for a big play down the field. Josh Allen had accuracy issues. Was off target on 27.6% of his throws. That's way too much. It's way too much. I mean, that's like the second worst in the league this past week. Down there with DTR and Anthony Richardson when it comes to accuracy numbers in this game. Penalties were a major problem. Making things harder than it had to be. So it's just all of that. Why was the Bills' passing game inefficient? Well, the Patriots played well. They anticipated a lot of things. The Bills didn't necessarily put a lot out there that was unique wrinkles that were going to help them against New England. Josh Allen's kind of hunting big plays down the field, not taking the check down, going deep too often, kind of not working progressions with consistency. They won with man coverage. They had a good chess piece in Marte Mapu. Their corners, their staple corners in Jones and Gonzalez played well, and so did Alex Austin. Couple of drops, misfires, penalties. Yeah, you're not going to have your best day throwing the football, right? Not going to have your best day throwing the football when you bake all that together. Again, it's never just one thing with football. It's all of that working together that gets in the way, and it's not okay. You want it to be better. But at the root cause of what I saw, it was that. Real quick on the offensive snap counts, the Bills had 59 offensive snaps. Josh Allen, 100%. At running back, Ty Johnson, 39%. James Cook, 36%. Ray Davis, 24%. At tight end, Dawson Knox, 56%. Dalton Kincaid, 34%. Alec Anderson, 19%. At receiver, Khalil Shakir, 75%. Mac Hollins, 71%. Keon Coleman, 66%. Amari Cooper, 54%. Offensive line, Torrance Brown, McGovern, Dawkins, 100%. Edwards, 97%. And then Anderson, 3%. Edwards missed a couple of snaps in the game, but was able to finish. So, good rushing offense. Passing offense, not really there. But at the same time, how concerned should we possibly? I mean, it's Josh Allen, and we've seen this passing offense operate with good efficiency all season long. I just don't know that we should put that much into this game. Although I also understand, hey, it's late in the season. You want to be playing good, sound football, and that certainly wasn't it when it comes to the passing game. All right, let's talk defense, defensive snap counts, and studs and duds on the other side of it. Folks, be sure to stick with me. Today's episode is sponsored by PrizePicks. If you love watching the game, you're going to love PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy. Whether it's football, basketball, or any of your favorite sports, PrizePicks makes your holidays bigger and brighter. You can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks. Plus, this holiday season, they're giving away $30 million in rewards during Picksmas and offering 2 free picks in December. And when your picks hit, PrizePicks makes it easy to cash out. You can get your money in as fast as 15 minutes. And look, there's games on Christmas Day. There's games all weekend. So get in on the action at PrizePicks. Go and check out which players they're projecting things at more or less and put together a parlay that you really, really like. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's right, $50 instantly when you play just $5. PrizePicks, run your game. Did Rocket Money help you find any subscriptions you forgot about or that you were paying for twice? That definitely happened to me. I had a few subscriptions that I didn't even realize I was still paying for, and Rocket Money made it so easy to track them all down. It's like having an assistant, right? A personal assistant for your finances. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. It brings everything together in one place, whether it's subscriptions, your spending habits, or even the goals you want to hit this year. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving up to $740 a year when using all of the app's premium features. For me, one of the best features is the subscription tracker I've used as to cancel services I wasn't using anymore, and I've already saved them a ton. Plus, with their goals feature, I've been able to automatically set aside money for my future. No more stressing about budgeting every month. So cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon, rocketmoney.com/lockedon. All right, folks, it's time to talk defense here. And one thing that I'd love for you to check out is the Herd Mentality Substack. I've been writing articles. I started this at the beginning of the season, and we're having a lot of fun with it. Really excited for what we've been able to produce. At least 4 posts a week right now. You get my big picture column after every single game. You get the all 22 review clips. So there's 44 minutes worth of me breaking down all these plays, all this stuff I'm talking about. I show people in the film that you can have as well through the Substack. You also get a weekly scouting column on Josh Allen. You get a weekly column on the upcoming Bills opponent. Plus, we have so many great plans ready for this offseason where I'm going to talk big picture stuff and really get into free agency, the draft, any new players, a lot of evaluation type stuff. So get in on it. Plus, you get into our Discord channel. If you join the Substack, you get into the Discord where we have over 1,400 Bills fans in there. We talk Bills, of course, all day long, every day. Whatever the topics are, we're chatting about it. Game day chats as well. We do weekly events, whether that's a hangout on Wednesday nights where I go and I'll spend an hour or so with everyone talking through stuff. We do trivia contests, all kinds of stuff all the time. Check it out. There's a link in today's show notes to be part of it, and would love for you to be in there. Again, you get the film clips, you get in the Discord, and we're having a lot of fun. Big plans for this offseason, which we hope doesn't start for a long time. All right, let's talk defense here, and just a number of thoughts here. First of all, the Bills defensively really mixed their coverages a lot. They played a lot of zone, played a lot of man, and they continue to lean more into man coverage, and the results are typically pretty good. In this game against New England, 17 dropbacks of man coverage. Drake May was 4 of 16 for 65 yards. Now, unfortunately, I'm pretty sure 3 of those completions were on third downs and, some of the most unfortunate plays in the game, right? The Kyrie Elam touchdown that he gave up to Keyshawn Butte, Hunter Henry for the long completion over the middle of the field on 3rd and long. They're playing Cole Bishop with 15 yards of depth over Hunter Henry and asking him to man him up over the middle of the field. There's a couple of instances of that, but for the most part, the man coverage has been really effective, and it was effective against New England outside of some huge moments. Zone coverage, the Bills presented that 21 times. Drake May went 16 of 18 for 155 yards. The Bills blitzed a ton in this game. A ton. 42% blitz rate. That's about double what they're normally doing. And part of it, I'm guessing is you got a rookie quarterback, and step one in playing a rookie quarterback is you blitz them into oblivion until they prove they can beat it. Well, Drake May got the ball out really quick. His average time to throw in this game was 1.94 seconds. That's insane. That dude got the ball out quick. I think he was aware that the Bills were trying to heat him up, and he knew where his answers were and found him repeatedly. And I thought the Bills did a poor job on third downs in particular when they ran man coverage of not disguising anything, just literally, hey, we're going to give you straight up man coverage, and allowed Drake May to just pick a matchup or understand where he's going to have free access, and he took it. And so while I think the Bills did some good things defensively, it was those situational moments, third downs in particular, where it felt like they just didn't ever pull the right levers or didn't pull them with enough consistency. Again, Drake May getting the ball out that quick is insane. Absolutely insane. And it spoiled a lot of good pass rush. I mean, the Bills got some good quick pressure. Von Miller in particular, a lot of quick pressure. Drake May just got the ball out very quickly. Some good blitzes, some very effective blitzes in particular with Dorian Williams. And May just kept getting the ball out. All right, some other things I want to talk about defensively is this Dorian Williams conversation with Matt Milano returning. And, my original stance here was that when Matt Milano was ready to play 100% of the snaps, he should play 100% of the snaps. It's hard to watch the last 2.5 games of Matt Milano and watch what Dorian Williams did in this game, in addition to the growth that he's shown this season, and feel like Matt Milano is ready to play 100% of the snaps. And it's hard to watch what we've seen to this point and feel like, at least in my opinion, that Dorian Williams isn't the better option. Dorian is just a fast, physical, tone-setting player. And the blitzing that he did in this game, the run fills, it's impact stuff. I think the Bills' defense benefits when he's on the field. And so the Bills are in a peculiar position with this. And Sean McDermott was asked about it on Monday, and he said a lot of interesting things, and really at the same time didn't say anything. Kind of gave merit to any idea that you can have. That's how I would say that Sean McDermott answered it. He said, look, we got to think about combinations, which two linebackers are best on the field together. We also got to give ourselves a chance to see those combinations and assess and evaluate. Matt Milano obviously has been out for a long time. He deserves to have every opportunity to get back in there and show the player that he once was. At the same time, you got a young ascending player and you don't want to hold him back. There's a lot of layers to that. And Sean McDermott, in answering the question, I thought really did is he valid whatever you wanted to think about the situation. I thought he validated it, which tells me that they're open to anything. But I think the question they have to ask themselves is, what is our best combination right now? Maybe in the past it was Matt Milano. The dude spent 400 plus days not playing in games, and it doesn't look like the same player right now. That doesn't mean he can't get there, but at what cost, right? At what cost are you going to sit there and let him play through his struggles? Maybe the reality here is that Dorian Williams should play early downs and Matt Milano should come in on late downs, and when you want to have a true coverage player. But when you want to blitz, you probably want Dorian out there. I think there's a lot to consider here. And I think there's a lot of consideration that should go towards Dorian Williams being the primary player alongside Terrell Bernard. Shout out Von Miller. Heck of a game. Tons of pressure. Just not enough complimentary pressure. And again, May got the ball out unbelievably fast. I thought Quentin Jefferson and Jordan Phillips played well. And I was happy to see that. And last week on the All-22 review, I made a comment about Dwayne Carter. And I said, look, he's just not playing well. And I wasn't overly enamored with him before the injury. And it feels like, coming back from the injury, he's just not quite there. And it's hard to watch Quentin Jefferson and Jordan Phillips in this game and feel like they aren't better options than Dwayne Carter. And so I think Dwayne Carter's had a good opportunity to play this year, and maybe he'll get some more run the rest of the way. But Phillips and Jefferson are better options for this defense right now. Cole Bishop, again, I thought he played well in this game. He continues to build on that performance last week against Detroit. Really good tackling, good angles, under control. I didn't find him to be out of position in coverage. I think he had some tough assignments in coverage. going up against Hunter Henry, there's a man coverage rep on a third down where, he's kind of lined up pretty tight on top of him and he can't get hands on and, he's able to cross his face and get open for a third down conversion. And then another one against Hunter Henry, he's playing with 15 yards of cushion and it's, too easy right there. So some good teachable reps there, but I thought for the most part he held his own and I'm optimistic about him stepping into this lineup next year. Cam Lewis, heck of a job stepping in. Obviously, that interception was one of the best plays the Bills have made all season long. Really outstanding interception where he's the one-eye middle of the field safety, and Drake May's not even thinking about him. He's got an outbreaker, and he's not thinking that middle of the field safety is going to get to the sideline, and Cam Lewis just reads the backfield and just goes the whole way. And I think it's a lesson for Drake May where, hey, you got to hold that safety. You can't assume that middle of the field safety in the National Football League can't get to that football. So hold that safety for just a second, and he probably throws a touchdown. But he doesn't, and Cam Lewis has a beat on it the whole way and makes one heck of a play. Kyer Elam, definitely not as bad as I think some people felt watching the broadcast tape. On the one touchdown that he gave up to Kayshon Boutte, I thought it was a really silly defensive play call on a third and 4, if I'm not mistaken. Just straight man coverage. And Drake May just hit his back foot and threw it up. It was a great throw, it was a great catch, but let's not act like that wasn't sticky coverage. Kyer Elam was probably an inch away from deflecting that ball. I thought his run defense and tackling was really good in this game. And so I don't know. I don't find myself down on Kyer Elam. I find myself optimistic with a young player that I think just needs reps. And I think he should absolutely be given an opportunity to be the starter next year. Again, certainly didn't feel like it was this disaster performance that I think some people are feeling like coming out of the game. Defensive snap counts, the Bills, 73 snaps of defense. Greg Rousseau, we're doing defensive ends. Greg Rousseau, 71%. AJ Epinesa, 49%. DeJuan Smoot, 47%. Rough game for him. Von Miller, 44%. Javon Solomon, 1%. Ed Oliver, 73% at defensive tackle. Daquan Jones, 40%. I thought those guys played pretty well. Austin Johnson, 20%. Jordan Phillips, 27%. Quentin Jefferson, 19%. Now, linebacker Bernard, 100%. Williams, 66%. Spector, 37%. He was a disaster. Joe Andreessen, 1%. At cornerback, Benford and Elam, 100%. Taron Johnson, 77%. Jamarcus Ingram, 19%. At safety, Cole Bishop, 100%. Cam Lewis, 99%. Studs and duds. Studs, James Cook, Reggie Gilliam, Connor McGovern, Deion Dawkins, Spencer Brown. Center and the two tackles were phenomenal in this game. On the long touchdown run for James Cook, unbelievable reach block by Connor McGovern. Dawkins and Spencer Brown were walls and pass pro all game long. Very good run blocking as well with some of those perimeter runs. A lot of that's because those guys were able to really win the edge with how they blocked. Von Miller, stud. Dorian Williams, stud. Cam Lewis, stud. Greg Rousseau, stud. Two huge game-changing plays. The forced fumble on Ramondre Stevenson that was recovered by Dorian Williams, and then the lateral that Greg Rousseau, they tried to cut block him. They couldn't. He was right on top of that play. And I'm not going to say that he was the reason that the ball was dropped, but he at a minimum, that's a tackle for loss right at about the 2-yard line. And he wreaked havoc, and the dude dropped the ball, and the Bills scored a defensive touchdown. Duds. Balen Spector just, struggled to leverage his gap against the run. Coverage was a disaster. Tough go. Matthew Smiley had the wrong personnel on the field on a punt. Gave up a 42-yard return to start the game. Special teams blunders keep mounting. Khalil Shakir, I put him down as a dud. Had a fumble. Had a drop on a deep ball that could have set up the Bills with an early score. And then he couldn't win another contested ball in the end zone. DeJuan Smoot is a dud as well. On the long Drake May third down run, he's rushing on the inside, and he rushes through the same side as Ed Oliver. And Von Miller has a great rush, but Drake May is able to escape the pocket and climb up because Dwayne Smoot is not in his rush lane. So he gives up a huge third down conversion because he's not where he's supposed to be. And then on the Ramondre Stevenson touchdown run, Dwan Smoot, I mean, the tackle blocks down, and Dwan Smoot's getting up the field. He's got to stay tight and connected to that. And he just left too much air for Ramondre Stevenson to easily win the edge and get into space and score a touchdown. It's two major blunders that directly led to points for the New England Patriots. So those are my duds. There you have it. All 22 review, Bills, Patriots. Obviously a lot to say on this one. It's a game that I think you have to compartmentalize it. As I said, it's the first game against this Patriots team that I think is talent deficient for sure, but certainly a familiar opponent. I think the Bills were holding some stuff back on offense. The rushing offense was a bright spot. The passing game, have some questions there, but I mean, I can't find myself to be overly concerned about Josh Allen in the passing game based on what we've seen this year and throughout his career. Defensively, kind of like some of the stuff that you're doing schematically with the man coverage. Some of the blitz stuff looked good, but there's some trends there over the last 3 games that concern you. You're down 4 starters on defense. It's on one hand, I want to be concerned. On the other hand, I don't. But overall, I think it's okay to want more out of this football team in this game at home against that Patriots team. So it's a weird game. Even Sean McDermott and the way he talked after the game and the way he talked on Monday, just kind of a weird vibe. Feels like expectations were a little higher. They weren't met. And obviously a lot weighing in the balance in these coming games where the Chiefs play on Wednesday. If they win, they're the 1 seed. How do you treat the rest of these games? I think you want to be the 2 seed. Go beat the Jets and treat week 18 like it's a bye. It's a lot of stuff to figure out here, but most importantly, got to play your best football here in the postseason, and whatever the Bills need to do over these next 2 games to position themselves to do that, that's got to be the priority. All right, folks, there you have it. As always, I kindly ask that you share, subscribe, rate, and review. Have a great rest of your day. Go Bills, and I look forward to catching up with you again real soon.